Hi folks, long time no speak. So I was listening to Andrew Myers, this guy here, and his video is, I think it's 12 reasons that Brian KOHBERGER will not face a firing squad. I just had something that I wanted to share regarding number 2 of his points, and so we're just going to listen to this because I might have some information on that, but I kind of want to just double check with Andrew that I'm on the same page as him as well. So I am going to make sure he gets this video, but I'm going to put it out publicly as well. So without further ado, let's have a listen to Andrew.
Wait a minute. This who was the primary agent in charge of that site? Standard protocol that if there's a crime of this magnitude, any crime really, but a crime of this magnitude, there is one central agent. There's one person that's responsible for that scene.
So you would get there. You would probably be the second people there. You would get briefed on the way in as to the situation. Hey, we have 4 dead people that we see in there. It's pretty gruesome, so on and so forth. You have to start assigning tasks as well. Okay, you're the lead detective, but you got other detectives helping you out. Okay, hey, you are in charge of interviews. You are in charge of neighborhood canvassing. You are in charge of keeping a log. And a log is very important of knowing who has access to that house. Yet, as the lead detective, it's my crime scene. What I say goes. As the lead detective, it's my crime scene. What I say goes. I don't care if you're a supervisor. I don't care that you're the mayor. Okay? I'm signing a patrol officer right there to the front of the house, and you are stopping every single person that tries to gain access. And you're telling them no. You're telling them no. Right off the bat. If there is a specific reason, you will come to me, and I will make that determination.
Arriving officers seal it off, put the tape around, throw everyone out. Nothing happens until the principal agent gets there, whether it's Moscow police, whether it's FBI, whether it's ISP, whether it's little green men that come down from Mars. One person is in charge of that investigation. So, Mr. Myers, how is this relevant? I'll tell you how it's relevant. The way it's relevant is that on cross-examination, these guys are going to have a hard time saying, well, you know, Dick was over there walking through the first floor and Harry was upstairs in the... Well, who was telling Dick and Harry what to do? Who had the central responsibility for nailing the scene down and preserving it and then processing the evidence correctly?
Okay, there's an extra bit. So there was somebody. It's a name that I think that many of you may not have heard, but it might ring a bell once you hear it. And this name has just disappeared. This person, just their name was on everything right at the beginning. And I'm going to show you. And then they just drifted off into the ether. He said something else. I can't remember what it was. So let's listen. It could be important.
In Idaho, there's actually a state law that says anytime there's a crime, it's the county that has primary responsibility for taking care of that crime in Idaho. So the question remains, who was in charge, who is in charge at trial when questions are asked about processing of the crime scene? Are people going to say, well, it was her responsibility there. She did it. So, yeah, I don't know. So
said this guy, I'm going to tell you who it is in a moment, he disappeared off everything. His name wasn't being used anymore. He didn't go to press conferences. I still don't know the answer. Okay, anyway, so I come across somebody called Captain Tyson Barret. Barret, and he runs the campus division of the police. Now, I'm going to choose carefully which one of these we have a look at. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So this looks like this was on the day. Anna Velasquez. Okay, homicide investigation underway in Moscow. Upon arrival, officers discovered 4 people who were deceased. No other information has been released at this time. But here we go. Moscow police are asking the public for any information that may help with the investigation. Contact Captain Tyson Barret. He is the case agent for this incident. I've been Googling case agent, and this is what you get when you Google case agent. The case agent is the lead in an investigation. Okay, this is on the 14th. A 2-minute read. 4 people found dead in Moscow near UI campus. The Moscow Police Department, according to Tyson Barret, captain at the Moscow Police Department. Now, it doesn't mention that he's part of the campus division here, but from what I've seen, he at least was, and it makes me wonder if he still was at this point, because that would be a reason that he would be involved specifically, and could be a reason why he... And like at first they wanted somebody from campus police, and then they just handed it over to Moscow in general. So according to Tyson Barret, officers responded to a report of an unconscious person in an apartment building on King Road around noon. So we've heard this before in other reports about it being called an apartment building. Once officers, or an apartment complex, I've seen it written as. Once officers arrived, the case quickly turned into a homicide investigation after they discovered 4 dead people, not deceased individuals. Put it to us, hit us with it. According to the City of Moscow news release, King Road is a small street located south of campus. The road is home to apartment complexes and ends in a cul-de-sac. Police were stationed at the junction of King. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? The fact that at first there was this talk of apartments. The house was divided into apartments. Now it does appear that that could be the case, because they had to get a warrant to search an apartment. And it appears that that was an apartment within the building. So each of the rooms was considered a separate apartment. And it's made me wonder if one of the rooms that was now empty, Kaylee's room, which we could see there was stuff in it, or the other room that was downstairs, had it been leased out, had it been sublet. There was a lot of subletting going on before that. Dylan had sublet from somebody over the summer, and maybe she still was subletting. So there were 2 spare rooms, and Kaylee was probably paid up to the end of the year. She wanted to go travelling. She would have needed the money. She bought that car, didn't she? Was she getting money from someone who was renting the room? Anywho, let's carry on. The case quickly turns into a homicide. Police identify 4 University of Idaho students found dead. Currently, there is no one in custody. When is this? 14th. Canvassing the area to find potential witnesses and additional information. Barret said detectives at the department were called to investigate at the crime scene. The investigation is still ongoing. Barret said police hadn't found the suspect as of Sunday afternoon. Okay. The Moscow Police Department is actively... So look, it's an absolute hoo-ha already. Is actively investigating a homicide about a mile from the University of Idaho campus. Do you think that's a mile from... Well, it's not, is it? Because the campus, literally, you would say from where Banfield is the campus. So originally, they told people it's a mile away. Because either it was a mile away, and that's not actually the crime scene, or they're trying to distance it from the campus. Nothing to do with us. It didn't happen on our watch. Didn't happen in our yard. MPD is asking any individuals who may have information to call Moscow Police Department, and guess who you need to see about it? Captain Tyson Barret, because he is the case agent for this incident. Okay. I think after the 14th, Tyson Barret may not be found in print. That name may not be found in print. Police identify 4 University of Idaho students found dead in reported homicide. Moscow police have identified the 4 University of Idaho students who were found dead Sunday afternoon. And slide 1, officers investigate a homicide at an apartment complex south of the University of Idaho campus on Sunday, November 13th. 4 people were found dead on King Road near the campus, according to a City of Moscow news release issued Sunday afternoon. And there they are named on the 14th. Note, some of the identifying details were inconsistent between the police and university news releases. This reflects the university's spelling and hometowns. Police did not address how the 4 U of I students died, which the university reported Sunday as suspected homicides. So the university revealed that they were homicides. Seems like the university are the ones revealing things. Each of the students' families were notified of their deaths, which led to the public release of their names. Captain Anthony Dallinger told the Idaho Statesman. Why is it that this thing about the names? Who's saying their names shouldn't have been released? At this time, police are not releasing the cause and manner of the students' deaths because it's an ongoing investigation, Dallinger said in a phone interview. The Latah County Coroner's Office did not respond to statesman requests for information on Monday. Dallinger said he did not know whether any of the 4 students, this is interesting, was previously known to the police, and was unable to share if any of them was a tenant of the property where their bodies were found. Interesting, eh? I mean, I don't know if it is interesting, but it seems interesting to me. Vandals, this is of interest, and I will explain why further on. Idaho Vandals football coach Jason Eck and University Associate Athletic Director Jarek Wolcott. Now remember what happened that day?
Drink this straight to my liver. Watch this, no tick. Yeah, I'm the game rap Xmas. Mo shots I deliver. Fate.
It was game day. Still held a regularly scheduled Monday press conference at which they expressed some of the greater community's grief. Did they? Monday press conference. Oh, okay. So normally after the game day, they have a press conference. This is not a typical thing to happen in Moscow, Idaho, X said. So I think it's very disconcerting to a lot of students and a lot of people in the whole community. And Wolcott added, "It's a sad day for our community and we are frustrated," this is interesting, "with the violence in this community and saddened and disheartened by it." I'll read that again. Wolcott said, "It's a sad day for our community and we are frustrated with the violence in this community and saddened and disheartened by it." So this is another one from the 13th, but it was updated on the 17th, and again mentions Captain Tyson Barret. The initial call from the home was for an unconscious person just south of the university, 1100 block of King Road, said police Captain Tyson Barret. So, investigators are notifying next of kin. Barret said Sunday night there was nothing more to share beyond the news release. So there you go. He's all over it on the 13th. Interesting here also, it says, Washington State University sent out an alert Sunday evening that indicated they were not aware of any threat to the Pullman campus or community. Were they? They were not aware. It's interesting how they've worded it. Were they, though? It'd be interesting to know. Were they aware that early? So this is 2016, and this is when Captain Tyson Barret was made the chief of the campus division, or the captain. For members of the Moscow Police Department, getting to know students and citizens is a vital step in making the community safe. MPD Captain Tyson Barret, newly appointed captain of the campus division, graduated with a criminal justice degree from the University of Idaho, of course. Since served as a reserve officer, patrol officer, detective and sergeant. He has worked in the campus division for a year and a half and has been a captain since January 2015. As captain of the services division, Barret said he oversaw the records manager, property manager, parking enforcement specialist, the code enforcement officer and the investigation unit of the department. Now as captain of the campus division, Barret said he serves as the liaison between the city and the university, which includes working on student conduct issues, campus conduct, and ways to make campus safer. My job and my goal is to make my face known to as many people. That's so ironic, is to make his face known to as many people as possible, but then make himself as scarce as possible during this investigation. Or they made him scarce, I don't know. Let them know that if they need anything from the police department, we do have campus police. Were campus police contacted? Were they? Were they contacted directly? Did Brian KOHBERGER work for campus police? Did WSU and University of Idaho share staff sometimes? For example, at a time like this, when it was, they do with and the courses that Brian KOHBERGER would have been teaching as a TA were taught at University of Idaho. And they didn't say, and Scott Green didn't say no when he was asked if Brian KOHBERGER worked there. He said a similar thing to the thing that the military said, something like, I haven't got him on a list or something like that. But do they do the same with campus police? They help each other out, don't they? Making sure that they know. He was security before, wasn't he? Okay, so the reason I found it interesting that Tyson Barret's name kept popping up in all of the early, almost all at least, of the early newspaper reports, the very early ones on the 13th and 14th, is because of this article and a few other articles. So let me just read you some information, some further information about Captain Barret. So, Captain Vandal protects community. So, as you know, the Vandals are the football team. And as we know, it was game day. So, Vandal alumnus reflects on his work as Moscow Police Department captain. This was 2019, updated in 2021 in March. University of Idaho's campus captain, so he was a campus captain in 2021 of the Moscow Police Department. One of UI's primary connections to the MPD is a Vandal himself. Tyson Barret graduated from UI, as we said before, in 1996. He worked as a reserve officer, and I've told you all this about his career. He has worked as a captain of the campus branch since 2006, it says here, and I really thought it was 2016. It was a little different, Barret said, describing the transition to becoming a detective. Now, that sounds strange as well, because it said that he'd previously been a detective. So they've got detectives on campus, interesting. On patrol, typically your calls are done in 1 or 2 days. As a detective, they can drag on for weeks, sometimes months, like homicides or rapes or hate crimes. So it takes a little bit of adjustment. So detective in the campus department, okay. Corporal Casey Green said he joined the MPD at approximately the same time as Barret. Both officers joined the same reserve group, a volunteer service run through the MPD. When they officially joined the force, however, Green went into dispatch while Barret became a patrol officer. They now work together in the campus division. Barret is extremely competent, extremely reliable, Green said. He knows the work inside and out. He has great relationships with the prosecutor's office. He has great relationships with the prosecutor's office. As head of the campus division of MPD, Barret said he balances his focus between UI and Moscow at large. See, that's interesting how he's written that. Can you remember? There's no danger to the community at large. I thought this was the case. They were talking about everybody else, not the students. They were saying there's no danger to normal people, people who just live in Moscow, the residents of Moscow. They weren't talking about the campus community. He oversees 2 campus police officers, a narcotics detective, and 3 patrol officers. So they have a narcotics detective on campus. Wow. Barret mainly works with Dean of Students. You can't tell me that there's not been any, and I'll show you something else, informants on campus. Whether there's informants involved, confidential informants involved in this case is a different matter. I don't know. Think about that Andrew Sadek. I did a video on him. It's really one to watch. Let's carry on. I travel with the Vandal. Now this is interesting. I travel with the Vandal football team. We work all the men and women's home games. What was it that weekend? Home game. I'm going to read it again. I travel with the Vandal football team. We work all the men and women's home games, Barret said. We work a lot of security details, such as Finals Fest. We're at Idaho bound. Okay. Barret said he remained in Moscow after he graduated because he adored how community-oriented the town is. The town at large, are you talking about? Or are you talking about the town? As an Idaho Falls native, the Palouse was a change from the high mountain desert of his childhood. The transition from the independent-natured Idaho Falls to the tight-knit Moscow community. Ooh, tight-knit, that sounds uncomfortable. So, The headline is, I travel with the Vandal football team. We work all the men's and women's home games. This is 2021, Barret said. We work a lot of security details such as Finals Fest. We're at Unedited bound. Okay, might need to look those things up. So, hang on, I've got more articles to come. Right, so this is an article from 2022. It doesn't say the date of the article though, but at this point the case was unsolved. Well, we can't say it's solved yet anyway, but and it does say here, it says that Chief Fry was formerly head of the campus division and that it's now run by Tyson Barret. So he was definitely head of the campus division at the time of the homicides, of the King Road homicides. So this is a press release, and as you can see from the 14th, and as you can see, Captain Tyson Barret is again named as the case agent here. Okay, the Seattle Times. So, this was in 2018. On May the 11th, this article came out. Sexual assault accusation against student athlete surfaces. Okay. So, the Moscow Police Department disclosed that a University of Idaho student athlete was accused of sexual assault last year, contradicting a statement by the athletic director that his department has not had any recent issues with sexual assault. A woman filed a report with the Moscow Police Department alleging that she was sexually assaulted by a University of Idaho student athlete in November. It was on November was this the one that was on November the 14th? One of them. There's more than one. The Moscow Pullman Daily News reported the newspaper did not identify the student because no charges were filed in the case. The student athlete has not been removed from his team. Captain Tyson Barret informed the office of the Dean of Students and Athletic Director Rob Spear of the report, he said. The police department investigated the case and forwarded it to the Latah County Prosecutor's Office, which declined to file charges. Because they didn't think there was enough evidence, apparently. Spear's lawyer declined to comment on the November allegations, citing an instruction from the university's general counsel not to speak about the case. Spear told the Associated Students of the University of Idaho Senate on April the 4th that his department had not recently had issues with sexual assault. Spear had been placed on paid administrative leave the day before addressing the student senators amid allegations that his department had mishandled complaints of sexual assault and harassment against a football player in the spring of 2013. The university has hired an outside entity to review its handling of previously reported police incidents involving a single football player in 2012 and 2013. When did Captain Barret start? I'd like to know. Was it 2006 or was it 2016? Because he always travels with the football team, you know, at game days when it's a home game.